it's time for Multifamily Weekend Update with your hosts, Justin Dilley and Eric Sharp. Hey!
Howdy.
Hey there, Eric. How you doing?
Doing all right. Happy Friday, Justin.
Happy Friday. Happy middle of April. Did you file your taxes or did you do an extension?
Like a good neighbor, I filed an extension. Yeah.
Nice.
So
you can wait. You can wait for the bad news.
Anything. Yeah, it only works when you don't own anything, and you got to pay something. Got to pay something.
Yeah. Well, it was a busy week. Beyond taxes, a lot of stuff happening in the industry. A lot of events. So we're going to dig into some of the stuff on LinkedIn, some of the highlights. But first, let's start by celebrating this Friday, April 17th, which is, if you didn't know, National Haiku Day.
Ooh.
Can you, in your eloquent commentator voice, read this haiku that starts off our show today?
Absolutely. Weekend doors swing wide. Episode 83 wakes. Back at it, we rise.
Beautiful. It is episode 83. We're getting closer to that 100 mark, which is insane. I can't believe I've done 100 of these with you.
We're not there yet.
It feels like 100.
We can always the finish line.
99, and that's where we wrap it up, huh?
Yeah, it's a shame that didn't land on the April 1st. That would have been nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dig into some stuff. Let's use some haikus to kind of talk about it. Right. There's been a lot of events all over the place. Why don't you use that lovely voice and read a haiku about what's been going on?
Let's start us off here. TAA One roars. Reba Insights lit the week. Denver shook with cheers.
So well done. I appreciate that. It's been a busy week. These are some of the events. There's a picture of Fort Worth.
I will only give you one guess as to what conference this was.
It's not Colorado. Well, it could be Colorado too. There's depending on where. There's some spots in Denver that look like this. But there was a lot of
absolutely love this outfit, by the way, from Brittany Mendizabal. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. No, it's a great. Both of them are great outfits. So yes, TAA One happened. A lot of posts, a lot of highlights from that. People sharing selfies or sharing events. Some takeaways. I'm sure more of those will drop in the weeks to come. Some other takeaways from Reba's Insights conference that happened out in Vail. Another Colorado spot. There was a few takeaways that started to drop towards the end of this week. And then also in Colorado, Denver, the Apartment Association of Metro Denver held their Maintenance Mania, which is always an exciting event. If you've never been to a Maintenance Mania, find one at your local apartment association and go.
You got to go. Yeah, you got to go to Maintenance Mania.
It's very, very awesome. It's very awesome. And if you're on the supplier side, vendor side, partner side, whatever words you and your company choose to use, if you can sponsor one of those events, it's a great thing, especially if you're involved in any kind of maintenance interfacing solutions or equipment. And there's also the Arizona Apartment Association had their conference toward the end of the week as well.
Yeah, lots of regional conferences going on, and feel free to head over to the Multifamily Insiders /events page if you want to check out any upcoming events.
Yes. All right. I'll start this one so you can talk more about what this represents. But I feel like for a salesperson, this feels very real. Quarter winds rattle, books stay cracked with one hinge wide, door waits for close.
Yeah, so this haiku is about a post that was done on LinkedIn. And essentially, there was an issue that Joseph Bramante brought up where he was having issues closing his books. Now, one of the most frustrating things is whenever you have investors waiting for their quarterly revenue to get brought in, right? Their quarterly checks from their investments, and you're sitting there waiting on something to move forward. But if you can't close your books because of an issue with software, then that makes it the highest priority for the day, the hour, the month, the week, the year. And unfortunately for him, his software AppFolio was just had an issue. There was a checkbox that was checked a couple weeks prior, and it messed things up. And he was expressing his pure frustration over this. And we can appreciate that on all sides. I think anyone trying to complete a job, turn in. Whether you're a kid turning in your homework for school or, an adult trying to close the books towards the end of the quarter or trying to pay your taxes, for example, and you're trying to click and get it to go and it's just not going.
Yeah. And I think some of the frustration, if you read the entire Dear Diary entry, which I guess there's probably a series because he said it's, this is the next one. So maybe it started previously, but I think some of it was the waiting for the resolution, right? So issues happens all the time. And then being told, oh, yes, we're going to take care of that in the next 5 days. Oh, yes, we're going to take care of that in the next 2 weeks. Like making sure that what you're communicating to your customers, your partners aligns with what you can actually do, because that definitely mitigates frustration, right? If you're told, oh, yes, we'll resolve this right away, and then you're still waiting, no one's perfect. No system is perfect. No company is perfect. No human is perfect. So there will be these things that exist, but how you kind of mitigate that or talk about that transparently is a piece of kind of as you work in this industry, you continue to hone and to learn how to communicate that type of information.
Yeah, well said. All right.
Okay.
Number 4.
All right, let's cleanse the palate for a second. Take a breath. And Eric, why don't you recite this for me?
Top 50 names rise, yet Parsons sees scattered stones. Fragments shape the field.
This is my favorite haiku. It's funny. My wife and I just watched Dead Poets Society last weekend. I've seen that movie a few times. But it's funny how poetry can just kind of bring strong images out. Jay Parsons used a strong image in a pie graph in response to some of the digging he did after the National Multifamily Housing Council announced their top 50 list, which again, we've seen tons of posts this week. Congratulations to all those that maintained spots, moved up spots, are just on it. It is an accomplishment. But if you look at Jay's post, he highlighted that a lot of the bigger names, like you could squint and see Graystar in there, you could squint and see Avalon Bay, like a whole bunch of other people, like not the people are owning the lion's share of what this is. Eric, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it just proves, and I used this chart actually when I was talking with an owner, with an investor, and I was like, look, the challenges of multifamily are drastically different when you compare it to anything from like healthcare industry. You have like these massive players that own, a third of the market. And there's really no clear winner, even though it's fun. We poke fun at Graystar all the time just because they're literally the largest, operator in the United States, but they own a small fraction. in
Yeah.
reality of the amount of units compared to all the available units in the United States.
Right.
So it makes things that much difficult for our industry to really capitalize and to partner with and to gain momentum
hmm
when it
And
comes
if you're
to
Yeah, and if you're thinking about like, the previous haiku that talks a little bit about closing out ledgers and technology, right? If you have so much fragmented ownership, that's also so much fragmented ledgers and different ways of accounting and different ways of wanting to close your books or how you track things or what you need to do. And
yeah.
so technology, to support that has to be much more bespoke to these different owners than the centralized ones fits all that we're constantly trying to say, hey, this is the way to kind of move forward at a high scale. But again, that movement doesn't necessarily line up with what the reality is, which is like, yeah, you're a third party manager, but you're going to have like all these different clients with all these different needs. It's a
Yeah,
very hard thing to balance.
the biggest challenge is standardization. And the only way to do that is to go through the grueling process of getting everything on the same PMS. Like everything's, the CRM's all in place and everything's talking together. All the systems need to talk together and be standardized. It's hard to get your data clean like that. And at the end of the day, when you're acquiring new properties and growing and you go across multiple states and regions, you then have all these different rules and regulations and reporting. And it creates that massive influx of challenges. So unless you own in one state, and you just use one PMS and you have, the greatest employees in the world that stick with you, then you're probably dealing with lots of challenges.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's go on and see what this one is. Okay, yes. Spotlights warm the stage. That should say stage. Voices climb through open doors. Influence called forth. What's this about?
Ooh, this is an open call for multifamily influencers. So if you know someone in multifamily who has really helped shape, the past year and the upcoming year, you should go into Globe Street and nominate them.
Yeah. And just the word influencer, I think gets confused in our world now because we have it labeled as actually a job and people in social media. This goes beyond that. It's not just, it could be something like that, but it's really about, as Eric said, moving the needle. So you could have 800 followers or no followers, but still be a major influencer because of what you're doing. To move the industry.
Sure. Are you putting in the work to help move the industry? And you could own 0 units and still be a major influencer, or you could own 100,000 units, and not be an influencer. All depends on, are you using your voice to influence the industry?
Yeah. Well said.
Next week feeds will hum. Paths is property unfold. Careers bloom in stride.
It's like a riddle. Yeah, next week, big week. RPM Careers Week. You're going to see a lot more of it from a lot of folks. Ambassadors for the National Apartment Association, other people that work on these committees, engaging in RPM Careers Week. Eric, what do you know about RPM Careers Week or don't know?
I know it's probably one of the only weeks where everyone gets together in multifamily to help promote careers inside of multifamily. Not only that, but increasing your role and deepening your role inside of multifamily.
Right. It's an advocacy effort, right, to promote this is an actual career. So if you go to Ball State University, you're probably very well aware that this is a career choice. But if you go to a small, like, liberal arts school somewhere else, or, across, in New England, or somewhere, some school in California, you might not know that multifamily is an actual career. And this is helping kind of educate not just, an echo chamber, but of people that don't know, and a lot of those people that maybe fell into some entry level role to make ends meet, to do something until they figure something out, to work through a summer internship. But this is to help people say, hey, where can I go after I'm a leasing agent? Where can I go after I do this other thing? What is a good path? What are the types of things that we could do? Because I posted about RPM Careers Week in the past, and I don't know if anybody remembers those Richard Scarry books with the little tiny towns of the cats and the worms, and they're all doing different things. They're like a baker, a policeman, and all this. As children, we don't really know that this is one of the jobs. This is a job you do in our world, just like a teacher or a nurse. Again, they're not the same, but there are parts that they play in our ecosystem and in our community.
Yeah. Well, it's a good week for us to speak out and to let others know that multifamily is a great opportunity for a long-lasting career. It can be challenging, it can be fun, but at the end of the day, you're definitely going to learn something new.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All yours.
Smart tools line the wall, yet trust is the missing key, even by toilets.
Beautiful. So, in our Thought Leadership Corner, we have Miriam R., last name redacted, apparently, unless I'm connected with her, which I'm not. But she posted some real talk about, kind of traveling, right? It's like the unglamorous side of being, a traveler in this industry. And you may not be able to see it from this photo here, but the toilet seat is lined with a saran wrap-ish kind of thing. And there's that white mechanism on top, which I've seen this before, actually. I don't know if you have, Eric, where it kind of rotates through and gets discards.
Yep, I've mostly seen it used with hand towels, cloth hand towels.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So the idea was, does she trust this? And likening that to all innovation. Innovation's pretty cool. This is a cool concept. But if you don't trust it, how are you going to implement it or actually use it?
That's a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to technology, I guess it's just similar to this toilet, right? Like, we all have to use it, but is it worth risking something that may or may not be working? Is it really cleaning itself, or is it, just bringing a brand new thing for you to sit on, right? A brand new thing of plastic. I don't know how this works exactly, but we just have to trust and hope that it works. I would love to trial it out before putting my rear end down there to see exactly how it works. And
how would you trial it?
I would give it a pilot. I would pilot it with a shoe, with a dirty shoe. That's what I would do.
Okay, I have ideas for our next some like in the field footage. No pun intended. But I think I'd love to see you experimenting with one of these and your shoe. That's the
next time I find one. Absolutely.
Selfie out there, putting it. Oh, hilarious. But a very, very, very good post. I also want to call out the idea of, the LinkedIn appropriateness and what's valuable about this, and just for people to think out there that are creating content and putting things out there, is that a toilet in my feed definitely stops me for a second compared to graphs and things and numbers and all that stuff you might see all the time, or a lot of the, the more frequent AI generated images where everything's kind of like cartoony and blue and yellow and gray. This stands out. And so, if you are thinking of posting content, think of things like this that are, nothing super controversial, but something that definitely might be a little out of the norm that's going to draw someone's eye.
I can appreciate this kind of a post. I know oftentimes, like you said, oftentimes these posts get ridiculed, on LinkedIn lunatics on Reddit, for example. But I think this is a good post where it's very similar to when your rear end's on the line, do you trust the technology? And same thing goes in our lives and careers. Same thing goes with, the seatbelt I put around my child every time I go and drive a car, right? Like I have trust built into that technology. It may not inherently be technology. It's a mechanical thing, but at the end of the day, technology was used to make that and to make it better and more efficient, to make a seatbelt buckle. Well, same thing here with a toilet seat with a revolving cover.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Beyond gyms and pools, cold rooms guard winter's bounty. Frozen dreams stacked high.
This was an interesting post from Brent Williams, who talked about the newest amenity, or maybe an existing amenity that many people don't think about. The big reveal here, the freezer room. So Brent talks about how the amenity inside of, I got to bring up the exact department here. The amenity inside of, gosh, where is this? I don't know where it is exactly. But basically it's an extra room that they're using likely underneath, in storage area, whatever, like an extra room where they're like, well, why not? Let's just throw some freezers in here.
Are you sure it's not the back room of a Lowe's?
No, I can't verify this, unfortunately, and this is why we're not a real news show. But
we're not a real podcast. We're not a real news show. We're not even real people.
We're not real people, actually. We're just Jen generated AI, exactly. And we type it all up the night before. Yeah. But yeah, so I just find this interesting, right? At the end of the day, when you're trying to come up with a way to use flex space, we'll call it, it's like, what do you put in here? Do you put bicycles? Oh, well, not enough people have bicycles, or we already have a bike rack, right? Like, what do you put in this well-lit area? Well, just throw some freezers.
So yeah, there's a lot of things I could say about it. I've seen communities that have where people will store wine cellars, and you could rent a wine cellar. It's already built, and they're kind of like lockers, but you get your own wine cellar. This looks a little strange because it's they're all different kinds of freezers. And so in this concept is the idea. You didn't see this on April 1st, just double checking. Did you see this on April 1st?
No, this is not an April 1st post. No.
Okay. No. But it looks like each individual render was like, hey, with that great bonus check that I got from the government because my taxes are so amazing, not my case this year, everybody. I'm going to buy a freezer, and now I can put it in my amenity freezer storage unit and say it's mine. I mean, the other thing is, there's no locks on that. Could I just go into anybody's freezer and grab some?
100%. I would put a dead body in yours.
I didn't even have to. You didn't even have to say that. I already knew.
I mean, that's
and you would frame me. You would frame me. You'd be calling the property manager.
Yeah, murders in the building. I mean,
and be like Dilly's freezer. Check it out. I don't know. I saw something when I was down there.
Just put a bloody handprint on there, and you're good to go. Smuds of fingerprints.
But an idea of an actual curated / maybe locker space similar to a wine concept, kind of a freezer. Makes sense. People go to Costco. They would, maybe say, hey, I can't fit that all here, but I'd love to be able to store some salmon in a freezer that I can't fit in my unit. I don't know.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's smart. If that's give the people what they want. If this is what they want, give it to them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will agree, Mike Brewers, I don't know if you saw his comment. It's a bit of a creepy factor that it's the cords hanging down for the power source for me.
I'm amazed it's so well lit, to be honest with you.
Well, I think that's a part of the security method. Like, if there's a lot of weird things that could happen there.
I don't see no cameras in there. That's all I gotta say.
So before we wrap up our special Haiku episode, which, you know what, until yesterday or this morning, we had no idea that's what this show would be, but got to celebrate the right way. Do you remember what a haiku is for those that might the format?
Yeah, was it 575?
575, and that's not an area code in New Mexico. I mean, it is, but it's 5 syllables per line, and usually it takes a lot of things from nature, or kind of like kind of descriptive verbs when you use them. That's the big piece that you're trying to incorporate.
Originating from Japan, of course, their style of poetry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think also April, which we didn't celebrate this particular month, but I think other months, or last year, it is Poetry Month. We actually had somebody on from Elevate OS that judged our poetry off last year. So this is we won't do that again, but this was our nod to poets this month.
That's right. And that's it. Appreciate you all for coming in.
Why was I counting on my hands?
I don't know. Have a great weekend, everyone. And get out there and smell the pollen. See you later.